offensively against Emilio Bonifacio, batting right-handed against the lefty, and he bunts foul to start the game.
And you notice, Lynn, not only the corner infielders drawn in, but Ryan Theriot and Aaron Miles up the middle, probably playing 2 or 3 steps shallower than they normally would, respecting the speed of Bonifacio at the plate. Has to drop that ball down the third baseline. Strike one.
Hit foul. Wind now coming out of the southwest. It has shifted a little bit. Just at 4 miles an hour. We heard 51 degrees, but I think it's about 61. Feels very comfortable at the moment. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Maben and Hermida to follow, and at least for tonight, the 2 all-stars named Ramirez out of these respective lineups. Aramis has not been placed on the disabled list. They're hoping he'll be back in the next few days with the calf injury. And Hanley Ramirez got hit by a pitch in the right hand/wrist area in New York a few days ago, and he's day-to-day.
Lou did tell us that Aramis Ramirez was available to pinch hit tonight if the situation arises where they need some big RBIs late in the game. He would be available.
Swing and a miss. That's a strikeout for Marshall.
Good start to the game for Sean Marshall. Buries a cut fastball down and in. Bonifacio swings right over the top. Looked like he almost got Coy Hill with his backswing there. I guess he missed him by a little bit. You always worry about those guys who take that top hand off the bat and finish that backswing way around behind their back. Sometimes they'll clip the catcher.
Now the center fielder, Cameron Maben. Swing and a miss. Former Tiger, he was acquired prior to last year. Marlins for many years now have been stockpiling top prospects. Swing and a miss, 0-2, and the word on Maben, in this situation here, you shouldn't have to throw him a strike. He's only 22 years old, turned 22 on April 4th. Aramis and Giovanni out of the lineup. Soto getting a mental break. Speaking of breaks, I think the bat busted and Theriot bobbled it, couldn't catch it, and it'll be I think a single, considering Theriot had a long way to go. We'll see if they give him an error or not. He called off Soriano, and you wonder, Bob, if by waving, and it will be an error, by waving him off, if maybe he lost a little focus there on the jump.
Yeah, the ball
turned
hit
around.
Him, hit him right in the heel of the glove. I have seen it, but that's something an infielder should never do. Don't wave off the outfielder. You go get the ball until you hear the outfielder call you off. And Soriano wasn't even close to that play. Theriot was the only guy that had a chance to catch that ball. Just go catch it.
Looked like he turned his head at the very last second and didn't have a good rhythm on the jump. So that's his 3rd error of the season.
The real error right there is an 0-2 pitch right down the middle of the plate to a struggling hitter. He could have thrown a fastball up around the neck. He could have thrown a breaking ball in the dirt. Probably would have got the same swing, but a much better result.
The pitch to Jeremy Hermida. This is low and outside. Big series last year in this ballpark for Hermida. And time called at the plate.
You see this season the Cubs 0-7 when they make at least 1 error in the ball game. Hopefully that will change after that error on Ryan Theriot.
Hermida has hit .352 in his career with 4 homers and 54 at bats against the Cubs. 2 balls, no strikes.
He comes into this series struggling a little bit too. Only 3 for his last 20. You look at this lineup, the power guys are definitely the guys in the middle. Hermida, Cantu, Ugla, and even Ronnie Paulino catching tonight. are the guys you have to worry hitting the long ball.
They won 11 of their first 12, which included a 7-game winning streak. Then they lost 7 straight. Offense went south. They've gotten back on track, winning the final 2 games of that series against the Mets. Both games without Hanley Ramirez. Now it's 3-1. Now the Cubs have struggled against this team the last few years. They won the season series last year 4-3. The year before that, they got swept.
Pretty good pitch right there from Sean Marshall. Coy Hill did catch it off the outside corner, but it was a breaking ball and looked like it might have caught some plate before it got to Coy Hill's glove.
That's ball 4. So no hits in the inning, an error, and now a walk. Now Jorge Cantu, you talked about, he's red hot.
Oh. 7 for his last 17 with 4 homers and 10 RBI. See what he's done on the season.
He's playing through a sore left wrist. Missed a few games last week, but he's playing through it now. And it's inside, ball 1. Now the walk by Marshall, the 11th walk the Cubs pitchers have given up the last 2 days. They walked 10 in the 10-0 loss in Arizona. Caught the inside corner.
Good pitch that time from Sean Marshall, but I think that's an area he's got to be extremely careful with Jorge Cantu. From the middle of the plate in, this is a guy for me that wants to pull the ball, especially early in the count.
Got the curveball for strike 2, 1 and 2. Where it goes through the zone. It almost hit the dirt, but it's where it crosses home plate. Well, he may have been leaning, but Aaron Miles was not near second base.
I'll tell you, it's a good thing just to show that inside move. Even if you don't throw, even if you don't attempt the pickoff, just let the Marlins know that you have that move in your back pocket. That'll slow down and shorten up some of those leads out there at second base.
Kick and the pitch. Went with another curveball and it missed.
That's just like pitching out early in a series against a team that likes to run a lot. You may not get the runner going on that particular pitch, but just the fact that you will pitch out throws up a red flag in that other dugout.
Sean working on normal rest. Pitched well but lost on Saturday in St. Louis. And a swing and a miss. Both outs have been strikeouts. This Marlins team will strike out a lot. 175 now on the season. Most strikeouts in the National League.
It's like Sean Marshall's tightened up his breaking ball a little bit. Used to throw a big loopy breaking ball. This curve is a little shorter, a little sharper. Cantu can't get it.
Cannot. Cantu. Another guy you got to be careful with, regardless of what the batting average says. He has sick power. Dan Uggla. Curveball, strike.
Dan Uggla apparently goes to the Arthur Murray school of hitting. Watch his feet as he gets in the batter's box, assumes his stance. He doesn't stop until Sean Marshall gets ready to deliver the pitch.
Bounces it foul.
A part of the timing mechanism and a relaxation method for him in that batter's box. One, two, cha-cha-cha. He just sets that toe back there and then goes into his stride forward. Whatever works.
Too high.
And we say it all the time, Len, regardless of what idiosyncratic things you do before the pitcher releases the ball. If you look at all these major league hitters as that ball is released, they're all in a very similar position. They do different things while the pitcher's getting the sign from the catcher to prepare themselves. But once that ball's released, they're all in pretty much the same hitting style.
And Marshall strikes out 3. An error by Terrio and then a walk, but no damage done. The Cubs struggling, inconsistent offense, trying to get it back, and we'll again brought to you by Pepsi. Refresh everything. Soriano, Terrio, and Fukudome at the top. Lee, Bradley, and Fontenot. Good numbers, small sample size for Mike against the Fish. Coy Hill getting the start off to a really good start offensively. Miles and Marshall will round it out.
Take a look at the Fish defensively. Hermida in left, Maben in center, Cody Ross over in right field. Emilio Bonifacio, really a middle infielder by trade, but a solid glove man no matter where you put him. He'll be at third base tonight. Amezaga at short, Ugla at second base, Cantu over at first. Ronnie Paulino doing the catching for right-hander Chris Volstad.
6'8", 227. And he's had some really good numbers going back to his rookie year of last year. In his career, in just 19 appearances and 18 starts, a 2.84 earned run average. That's caught by Amezaga. Looked around to find an umpire who gave him the out call.
Now, Volstad will feature a fastball, a curveball, a changeup. It looked like Soriano hit a changeup here. Tried to go down low and away. Hit it good, but unfortunately hit it right at the Marlins shortstop. Volstad's fastball will sit in the high 80s, low 90s. Good curveball, good changeup. He really takes advantage of that height.
He's only 22. 1-0 on Ryan Terrio. Struggled on the trip at 192. And he's just 8 for 52 against the Marlins. Trying to turn that around. Bob, what is it like as a hitter facing a guy who's 6'8"?
Well, some guys don't take advantage of their height. They nullify any advantage they have by really dropping down on that back leg and maybe dropping their arm angle down. But Volstad stays very upright on that mound. Tries to get his arm up in a high 3/4, nearly over the top delivery. And the ball, as it gets into the hitting area, if you can picture a side view from the mound to home plate, the ball is coming at such a drastic angle. Your chances of squaring it up consistently are pretty slim unless he makes a mistake.
Kosuke got the day off yesterday. Solid road trip, 389. Excellent rate stats. He's 5th in the National League in batting, 2nd in on base, 8th in slugging. A fantastic start. He's ahead in the count. 2 balls, no strikes. Olstad working quickly. This one smacked down the left field line. Foul. Adam Dunn off to a good start. Manny's just being Manny. 489. 3-1.
And normally when Adam Dunn is near the top of that on base percentage list, it's because he walks so often, but he's swinging a bat well in the early going this year.
Pop fly to left. This is Hermida, and that's it. Very quick 1-2-3 inning for Chris Volstad. Early on, 0-0 from Wrigley. Just underway here in the second. Marlins catcher Ronnie Paulino with a bloop single out into right center. That's the first hit.
That ball right off the very end of the bat, but Paulino, a big, strong guy, just muscled it out there into shallow right field for a base hit.
Came in at 381 versus lefties. Kind of hard to keep track of him in the offseason. Got traded 3 times over the winter, twice on the same day. Former Pirate, we've seen him a lot. Now Cody Ross. Again, another guy you got to be careful with. Very good home run power. Though comes in with less than impressive numbers. And he was pretty good on the mound. On Sunday, pitched in relief in a blowout loss against the Phillies. A scoreless ninth, gave up an infield hit to Jason Worth, but then got 3 flyouts. Howard, Ibanez, and Feliz. He was considered a pitching prospect back when he was drafted 10 years ago by some teams, and worked in a spring training game for Detroit in 2001, so he got a chance. He's a left-handed thrower, even though he bats from the right side. And he won the game last night, 2-run single in the 8th inning, giving Florida a 4-3 win at New York.
Well, when you think about it, most of these guys in uniform tonight pitched, at some point in their baseball career, whether it's high school or college. I think a lot of them would probably like to give it a shot again, just for fun.
Marlins are 13-8, a game and a half up on the Phillies. The Cubs right now are in 5th. Haven't been there in a long time. Now they're only a half game out of 2nd. but they're 4 games behind the front-running St. Louis Cardinals, who are playing the Braves again tonight, and they lead 3-2. They just got a run in the 5th inning. I'm sorry, the Nationals tonight. They're in Washington. 3-2 Cardinals.
Pujols with his 8th home run in that game.
Cubs want a double play chance here. 2-2 on Ross. Tapper foul.
You know, then we had that shot of Freddie Gonzalez over there in the first base dugout after his team got off to the great start. We showed you the graphic at the beginning of the game, and then they played so poorly after that. He said, we're not as good as we were when we were 11-1, but we're definitely not as bad as we were when we went 2-7. He says we're somewhere in between. It's tough for a manager with so many young players and some new people on the team this year to try to figure out exactly what kind of a ball club he's working with.
There's that double play ball. As routine as it gets at this level. We talked about some comments from Alfonso Soriano regarding the Cubs kind of needing to pick it up a little bit in terms of intensity. And Lou, after the ball game yesterday, the Cubs dropped to 10-10. So we're finding out these other teams want to kick your butt. We're not going to be able to just go out there without intensity, go through the motions, and think we can win baseball games. I can tell you that. The quicker that sinks in, the better. He was asked about meetings today, and he's not a team meeting sort of guy. And I think the question was, would you encourage your players to have their own meeting? He said, you can talk about meetings all you want, but we're. And he went down the rankings where the Cubs are offensively. I could rattle them off. 9th in on base, 11th in slugging, tied for 8th in runs. He said a little production wouldn't hurt. Just keep it simple. Just go out and play your game. And play hard. Nothing in 2 on Alfredo Amezaga. Milton Bradley in there for the 3rd consecutive start. Still trying to get on track at the plate. A little bit outside, 1-2. The pitcher Volstead is on deck. Good luck to the Blackhawks starting their best-of-7 series with Vancouver tonight. Swing and a miss. And Hill will toss the lead to complete it. That's 4 Ks in the first 2 innings for Sean Marshall. Bottom 2, Lee Bradley and Fontenot coming up for the Cubs. broadcast.
I am Mohawk challenged.
Did you bring up the concept of the reverse Mohawk?
Yeah, the Walkman I used to call it. Goes from ear to ear instead of front to back.
Big Z will start on Sunday against Ricky Nolasco. On Jenkins Maddox Day, number 31 will be retired. We'll have it on WGN Sports. We'll start the pregame at 12:30. The entire ceremony for you before the 121st pitch. Second game back for Derek Lee after the neck spasms. Just a couple starts. He went 0 for 3 with a walk yesterday versus the Diamondbacks. And the 1-2 offering is smacked up in the air and out of play off to the right.
I will say this, Len, and we talked about it in the ball game yesterday in Arizona. Derek still didn't look comfortable either defensively or at the plate, but took a pretty good hack right there. He looks like he's not suffering from the ill effects of those neck spasms right now.
As we sit here in the middle of the Stanley Cup playoffs, and hockey teams are extremely secretive about injuries, not nearly as open as baseball teams are. Rolled to short. Derek's kind of like a hockey player. He'd rather not talk about injuries. And if he's in the lineup, I don't even ask him because I know the answer. I'm fine.
And we have asked him many times over the past number of years. I mean, his head could be sitting on a chair in the locker next to him and one of his legs on the other side. And you ask him how he feels. I'm fine.
Bradley taps it to first. It is fair as it's gobbled up by Cantu. And it might have kicked foul if Cantu let it roll another couple of feet. Don't miss the action as the Cubs host the Marlins tomorrow. Game time 1:20. But be sure to arrive early. The first 10,000 fans will receive a Cubs travel mug. Compliments of Gatorade. Car flag night tonight. First 10,000 through the turnstiles. You see the Cubs car flag. Inside corner strike on Mike Fontenot. Just to follow up on Derek Lee, I'm sure as a former manager you can appreciate having a guy like him. Go back to Sunday when he points out that something really hurts. I mean, not that you don't take other guys seriously, but he's not one to cry wolf. So when he says he's hurting, you get him out. So you like having guys who never make excuses, just go out and play.
Yeah. I mean, I joke about it all the time. The players will lie when you ask a pitcher, do you have anything left? Yeah, I'm fine. You ask a position player, are you okay to go today? Yeah, I'm fine. And 90% of the time they're lying to you. But over a period of time, you get to know the strengths and weaknesses of your guys. You know who can play in a little bit of pain, who maybe can't play with any pain, and you handle them accordingly. And Derek Lee has proven in his time here in Chicago and throughout his major league career, he's a guy that can play with a lot of aches and pains.
One bouncer as Uggla decided to back up instead of trying to make maybe a diving catch on a pretty easy play. Volstad hasn't broken a sweat yet. 0-0. Well, it's either Cubs car flag or hat flag night. Chris Volstad will ground out to Brian Terrio. 1 out.
Maybe he doesn't own a car. Gotta make do with what you got.
Good for riding the red line.
Yeah. We went up here in the booth today.
Yeah.
We're not asking for any wind because when we get wind, it usually blows right in our face. So we'll just leave it the way it is.
Lightly blowing straight out to center tonight. Extremely comfortable temperature at the moment. Bonifacio struck out swinging to lead off the game. Well, last year this was an all or nothing offense. They had a club record 208 home runs, and they whiffed a major league high 1,371 times. Only team last year to strike out more than 1,300 times. They had 4 guys in their infield who all hit 25 homers or more. In fact, Jacobs, Ugla, Ramirez, Cantu all had at least 29 home runs. First team ever in a single season to have an infield that prolific with the power.
We mentioned the power that they have in the middle of the lineup, especially when you get Ramirez back and healthy. But with Bonifacio and Maben, when he can get on base, they've got some blazing speed up there at the top too.
Well, in their spacious ballpark, speed certainly is at a premium.
I mean, this guy at the plate has had minor league seasons of 61, 55, 41, and 40 stolen bases.
Sean coming back on a 2-2 pitch. Bounced foul. It's been a lot better at Dolphin Stadium and on the road. Topper to third. Throw by Fontenot, got him by a half step.
Well, that is a nice play by a guy that doesn't play a lot of third base. Coming straight down that third base line, has to kind of throw across his body on the move. He knows he doesn't have very much time with Bonifacio running. Gets plenty on that throw, and they get him by a step over there at first base. It didn't appear to slow him down any, but it always baffles me why the batter watches the play defensively. Just put your head down and run straight through the bag.
Yeah, we'll show you a replay if you want to see it later. Strike one on Maben. Sean Marshall's kind of trying to buck the career trend that has developed. As a starting pitcher, his career earned run average is 4.80. It's almost 2 runs lower. As a reliever, 2.93. But he earned the number 5 spot in spring training. When rocketed past Fontenot for a 2-out hit from Maben. And normally in this spot, Marshall would have to face Hanley Ramirez. Instead tonight it's a left-handed hitter and Jeremy Hermida. And here's why Hanley Ramirez. I'll show you that hit by pitch in New York. It looked pretty nasty. Sean Marshall. That makes sense considering his numbers as a reliever. First 30 pitches more successful.
I think sometimes those numbers will improve with more experience. Learn that you get through the lineup the first time. Then the second time through, remember how you got guys out. The first time, maybe you repeat that.
There's a throw. Maben is out. Coy Hill's 2 for 2 on the season. Haven't run out of much. He's batting 1,000 in that department. Nothing. 0-0. Coy Hill just ended the top of this inning and nailing Cameron Maben, and he's going to bounce out to Chris Volstad, who's retired the first 7. Let's check out who's moving forward with Toyota. Coy Hill is moving forward. 7-game hitting streak coming in.
And providing stellar defense the way he always does. That's his claim to fame. That's why he's on this Cubs roster as a backup catcher, but making his presence felt with the bat as well.
Well, Lou's hand has kind of been forced here lately as Hill's made 2 starts the last 3 days. He had 3 hits in his last starting assignment, and with the way Soto has struggled, giving him a little time off and also rewarding Coy Hill for his excellent play both ways.
Not sure what kind of slide that was that Cameron Maben threw on there at second base, but nice throw by Coy Hill.
Another 1-3. Aaron Miles is out. Cubs without a base runner early on.
You know, in that 1-2-3 second inning for the Cubs offensively continued to trend for Chris Volstad. He is yet to give up a hit in the second inning of any of his starts this year. Opposing batters now 0 for 15 in the second inning of games, and no walks.
Bounced foul.
I mean, we saw the numbers for Sean Marshall when you were talking about his effectiveness as a reliever, better than as a starter. The exact opposite would seem to be true for Volstad. If you don't get him early, it's going to be tough sledding.
Well, he has not thrown many pitches. I think less than 30. We'll add them up when we come back. To get through 3 in the first time through the order perfectly. 0-0. Marshall and Chris Volstad. As we get into the 4th inning, Jeremy Hermida was at the plate when Cameron Maben was caught stealing at second. 1 ball, no strikes. Great to have with us Cubs Senior Vice President of Community Affairs and General Counsel Mike Lufrano. Got some fun events coming up for Cubs charities, including the big event, Meet the Team, Have a Ball.
That's right. It's coming up just a couple of weeks on Wednesday, May 13th. It's a really fun afternoon. A chance for fans to walk in the outfield grass and then join the 2009 Chicago Cubs and get a baseball signed by the members of the team.
So tickets are $300 per person. They are available for purchase by visiting Cubs.com. And again, admission includes an authentic MLB baseball ball cube and a ballpark snack. There's what you'll get. And you'll have fun trying to figure out whose signature belongs to whom.
Like a bunch of doctors.
Well, you get to meet them, so you get to see them and have them sign the baseball. So maybe you can make a note as you're going down the line and meeting all the players and coaches.
So that'll be 2:30 on Wednesday, May 13th. 3-1 on Hermida. And he walked him. So Hermida has walked both times up. We had a chance to be at the groundbreaking, the dedication of Little Cubs Field at Humboldt Park last year, and the grand opening will be announced soon. And what an exciting project.
It's terrific. You know, all the proceeds from Meet the Team and all the charity events we do during the course of the summer benefit our charitable efforts. And one of the things we do is like to invest in youth baseball and stadiums. And both you and Bob have been so terrific at helping out our charitable efforts. We're so excited about Humboldt Park. Little Cubs Field is a little replica of Wrigley Field. It's got bricks. It's got a scoreboard that looks like our marquee. And it's going to be a chance for a community in Humboldt Park that really has a passion for baseball that's second to none. To have a stadium that is second to none either.
Giovanni Soto, Carlos Zambrano were there, and they were very popular, as I recall. What a great day. Inside 2-0 on Cantu, and Hill will go out and chat with Sean Marshall. So the Cubs teamed up with the YMCA of Metropolitan Chicago and the Chicago Park District, and we've talked many times, Mike, about being a good neighbor, and the Cubs have done that throughout the years, and it's very important because this is a neighborhood.
It's a neighborhood that we play in around Wrigley Field. It's a city of neighborhoods, and Chicago is such a great place to play baseball. There are communities that love our sport, that love our players, and we'd like to give back every chance we get.
Marshall coming back, right back to him. He knocks it down. He's going to throw to second. Risky play. Got the out. Thought he might throw to first, but he just had enough time to get Hermida. And it looks like he's all right.
Well, you called it right, Len, a risky play. Those PFPs we talk about in spring training, the pitcher's fielding practice, generally after a ball is knocked down, you just take the sure out at first base. Sean Marshall thought he had enough time to get the force play at second, and indeed was able to get Hermida down there.
Mike, we should give a nice plug to Sean Marshall as Cubs Care and the McCormick Foundation handed out over $1 million in checks to a charitable foundations throughout Chicago, and Sean was there last week.
Sean was there, as were you, and we thank you both. And it was a terrific day again. We were able to help about 41 agencies throughout Chicago and the work they do. You know, we know that times are tough economically for a lot of people, and that makes the charitable work we do even more important. That's why events like Meet the Team have a ball and chances to help give back to our community, and we thank our fans who participate. It really is a win-win-win all around.
1-1 on Dan Ugla. Cantu at first. One out. We're in the fourth. We're with Cubs Senior Vice President Mike Lafrano. Broken bat bouncer that gets through. So they have 2 on for the second time tonight. Mike, also for people coming out, a lot of times they ask, how do we get a message out on the scoreboard? Well, we have information on it.
Absolutely. This is something people don't know about, and we get asked all the time. Those messages on the Wrigley Field center field scoreboard again benefit our charitable efforts, and you can order your message, make your reservation by calling 773-404-CUBS. They will direct you to the right place, or you can just ask for our community affairs staff, and we'd be happy to help. But it's a chance to wish someone a happy birthday, congratulations, or just say welcome to your first game at Wrigley Field.
Boy, what a way to enhance the Wrigley experience. You have some family in from out of town, or your significant other at the ball game, and you want to score some points, put their name up on the board. That's great.
1 ball, no strikes on Ronnie Paulino. So again, Meet the Team have a ball May 13th. You can go to Cubs.com or call 773-404-CUBS. And same for scoreboard messages. All proceeds will benefit Cubs designated charities. Mike, thanks for the time. Let's get some runs in the bottom of the inning. What do you say?
Thanks for having me here, and thanks for all your help with our charities, and let's do it. Let's win a ball game.
Thanks, Mike. It's Mike Lafrano. And the Cubs Community Affairs Department does such a wonderful job throughout the not only the Lakeview community, but the entire city of Chicago. This is a big inning for Sean Marshall, considering how Chris Volstad has pitched. On the other side, he hasn't given up a base runner, has thrown just 29 pitches through 3 innings.
You know, Len, Ted Lilly talked about that the other day in his matchup with Dan Herron down in the desert. You could see very early on that Dan Herron was not going to give up very much in that game. And I think you could probably say the same thing about Chris Volstad tonight. So Sean Marshall really needs to bring his A game here, execute his pitches, try to get that ground ball right here and get out of this inning.
Big swing by Paulino, 1-2. You like Ronnie Paulino. We've talked about him a lot. He has pretty good power.
He's got some big time power when he makes contact. He's a little bit of a free swinger, but boy, when he makes contact, he can hit him a long way. And as you mentioned earlier, he kills lefties, hitting over 100 points higher against left-handed pitching in his career. 355 against lefties, just over 250 against righties.
And maybe a double play. They do it. 6-4-3. Second double play turned by the Cubs tonight. Trying to get that first base runner. Top of the order coming up in the last of the 4th. The first time through the order, 7 ground ball outs. Only 1 ball got to the outfield. But Sean Marshall's hanging with him, getting helped out by 2 double play balls. So top of the order now, Soriano, Terrio, and Fukudome against the 6'8" right-hander. Third career start against the Cubs. No record and an ERA of 3 for Volstad. He's pitching for his hometown team. He's from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. Cody Ross, 10 up, 10 down.
The 2009 Chicago Cubs baseball season on WCIU Cubsnet is brought to you by Bud Light. The difference is drinkability.
Great to be home, and the weather cooperated big time tonight. Like it might be a little iffy earlier today. One of 2 night games on the homestand. The other one will be Monday night against the Giants. Another game you can catch right here on WCIU and Cubsnet. That's more about fashion than function.
Oh, we're all about fashion.
Yes. Does he know that that series doesn't start? Well, he might be scouting. And there's the first Cubs hit. Ryan Theriot, that patented inside-out swing. First base runner for the Cubs.
That gentleman just wanted to make sure to get a good seat for that Giants series next week. Good to see Ryan Theriot lining that ball to the opposite field. We talked about it on the last road trip. He was trying to drive the ball a little bit more, maybe pull the ball a little bit more. But this is the swing that's been so good for him in his time here at the big leagues with the Chicago Cubs.
Theriot runs. The pitch is a called strike. Throw gets into center. He's able to locate it, but a little too late.
Boy, Paulino's throw sailed back to the first base side of the bag down there at second from our Southwest Sky Cam. Watch the tail on this throw to second base. It almost tails right back in. I don't know how that missed Ryan Theriot. That was close.
I'll tell you, if it's caught by Mezika, they get Theriot. He's out. But it missed the glove and the runner. So Terrio's 4 for 6. I like that. You're going to get guys on. Be aggressive here for an offense that has really struggled. The Cubs have dropped 6 of 8. They've scored 21 runs in their 2 wins. Just 8 runs total in their 6 losses. 1-1 to Kosuke. Hit hard on one hop, but it'll be ugly to throw him out. Wrigleyville Rooftops has premier seating for up to 200 guests for corporate gatherings, family reunions, and bachelor or bachelorette parties. Individual and group tickets are available for all games. For more details, go to WrigleyvilleRooftops.com or call 773-248-ROOF. Every time I read that, I want to say, roof! Go-ahead run is at third. First time the Cubs have had a base runner, let alone a runner third. And a strike on Derek Lee. Average now below 200 with the 0 for 1 to start the night.
We'd really like to cash this run in. Big 2-out knock here by Derek Lee. Wild pitch, pass ball. Somehow get Ryan Theriot on that dish. Just don't know how much Chris Volstad's going to give up in this game tonight.
Swing and the miss. That's his first strikeout. And it came at a big time for him. On to the 5th. 0-0. of the 5th, game 1 of a 4-gamer. Cubs hosting the Florida Marlins. Maybe we'll see those Olympic rings all over this city. A few years. Ross held up. Ryan O'Nora down at first made the call. Sean Marshall's best friend tonight has been the 6-4-3 double play ball. He's gotten a couple of them. Go Cubs go. Hey WCIU. It's a good fan right there. There's the Cubs TV schedule inside and out. Swing and a miss. Marshall has his strikeout pitch working tonight as well. That's 5. Cub fans, don't forget to visit the WGN Sports Game Zone at WGNTV.com. Brought to you by The Great Escape for up-to-the-minute stats and info designed to give you everything you need to know during the game. WGN Sports Game Zone available for every Cubs game. It's brought to you by The Great Escape. Pools, patio sets, play sets, hot tubs, and more. This is starting to look a little bit like a small ball night. Cubs are trying to manufacture a run earlier. That hits third base. And Amezaga is going to test Soriano. They've got a good shot. And they got him. Outfield assist number 3 for Soriano. A little bit of a collision there as you had Amezaga and Miles fighting for second base. 2 big throws tonight. Hill from behind the plate and Soriano from left.
Boy, when are opposing base runners going to learn? That ball hit right off the bag. I think Amezaga thought maybe it slowed down more than it really did. It got out there to left field. Soriano with the bare hand pick and throw to Aaron Miles, and he goes in there and blocks second base like a catcher. Wanted to make sure he got that call from second base umpire Field and Culbreth.
Like Aaron got hit on the head by the helmet of Amezaga. Well, I think both these teams, Bob, are going to try to take that extra base wherever they can because the risk is worth the reward on a night like this. Even though the wind is blowing out, if you make your pitches, and these two guys have, you're going to put up zeros.
That was a great play by Soriano in left field, but that was a nice pick on a tough short hop at second base as well by Aaron Miles. As a middle infielder going over there to cover the bag, especially with your back turned to that runner, you're hoping for an easy ball to handle so you don't have to worry about catching the ball. You can just worry about the tag. That time he was able to do both.
Easy play for Marshall. Sean's been dealing. So is Soriano from left. side of the head by a small train.
They say baseball's a non-contact sport, and it doesn't happen often, but when it does, wow, helmet right to the left ear there of Aaron Miles. Both guys get up unscathed.
1-0 on Milton Bradley. One hit for the Cubs. Marlins have 4. They've had the better scoring chances. The struggles of Milton Bradley have been well documented. Hasn't been in the lineup consistently because of the groin injury. There are a lot of guys who signed big free agent contracts who are off to slow starts around baseball, including the big 3 in New York: Teixeira, Sabathia, Burnett. Driven deep the other way. Back near the wall. Cubs lead 1-0 on Milton Bradley's first home run as a Cub in this ballpark. An opposite field shot.
I like that shirt.
In fact, that's his first career home run ever in this ballpark. He never did go yard as a visiting player.
Well, we commented on that back in Arizona in spring training, how he drives the ball to all fields, especially from the left side of the plate.
Mike Fontenot, towering blast. They go back to back. Number 4 for Mike. He's had a big week. That's his 3rd this week. Well, you got to love those opposite field shots.
Well, the first time through the order, the Cubs tried to pull a lot of pitches from Chris Bolstad, hit a lot of ground balls. First 2 batters here in the 5th going to the opposite field and finding the bleachers.
Just like that, it's 2-0. Coy Hill was trying to make it 3 in a row. Five homers now allowed by Volstad. Really into it now.
But Mike Fontenot not only hit a home run, he hit a blast to the opposite field. Fastball, outer third of the plate, way back into the bleachers in left center field. Our Southwest, how far did it fly? 391 feet.
Check swing foul by Hill. Good to give Sean Marshall a lead. He's deserved it. 5 shutout innings for him. Ugla will go in the hole, and Cantu getting back to the bag in time.
Well, we just showed you how far Mike Fontenot's home run went. Let's take a look at Milton Bradley's. According to Southwest Airlines, 384 feet. I'll tell you, if that's 384, Mike Fontenot's is like 410. Doesn't matter as long as it gets over the fence.
Cell phone blowing up.
Good wardrobe choice tonight.
Outside to Aaron Miles. Bonifacio in on the grass at 3rd. It's inside. 2-0. Missed again. Marshall on deck. game in Washington. Nationals took a 4-3 lead in the 6th. The Cardinals have come back to tie it in the 7th on a Rick Ankiel sac fly. Cubs starting the night 4 back in the Central. Just knocked down by Bonifacio. Not a great throw, but Cantu able to get it. 2 outs. Experience Cubs baseball from the private comfort of the Bud Light Batter's Eye in center field, offering a spectacular view and catered service for groups of 75 to 100. The Bud Light Batter's Eye is a great option for entertaining in Chicago's unpredictable spring weather. The Bud Light Batter's Eye is also available for non-game day functions. To book your day there for more info, visit Cubs.com/suites or call 773-404-CUBS.
Batter's Eye is also a great place for frustrated umpires. You can really get a good view of the pitches, where they are on the plate, up, down, in, out. Help the home plate umpire out.
That's where you end up when we're not broadcasting. Losing your voice, screaming at the umpires.
Yeah, unfortunately, they can't hear you from out there, but that doesn't mean you can't scream at them.
Well, I think it's fortunately they can't hear you. 0-2 on Marshall, who now has a 2-0 lead. And he'll go back to work. Back-to-back homers. Bradley and Fontenot to the opposite field. 2-0 Cubs. Lead-off home run, followed by Mike Fontenot's shot, and it's 2-0 Cubs. So Sean Marshall here in the 6th inning has thrown 71 pitches through 5. 22 came in the first inning. Hasn't made more than 15 since. Bonifacio began the year 14 for 29. He's now 11 for his last 67. Grounder foul past former Cub, their third base coach, Bull Porter. popped him up. It's Aaron Miles in the outfield grass. Time to have a ball with our friends at the Illinois Lottery. This date in baseball history, 1970, Billy Williams became the first National League player to appear in 1,000 consecutive games. So our have a ball, we look at some other great Chicago athletes. Billy, 1,117 in a row. The late Red Kerr, 844 straight. Walter Payton missed one game in his career. It was a coach's decision. Steve Larmer over 10 straight seasons without missing a game. It's tonight's have a ball thanks to the Illinois Lottery. Do you remember what your consecutive games played streak, the longest you had?
2 or 3. And that was all coaches' decisions too. I don't recall. There was a stretch, I believe it was in 1986 perhaps, when our backup catcher was injured and they had to play pretty much every day for about a month and a half, but nowhere near what those gentlemen were able to accomplish.
I don't know the answer. What's the record for consecutive games played for a catcher? And nobody plays them all. Randy Hundley almost did.
Randy almost did. Jason Kendall's a guy that misses very few games behind the plate. I'll probably find that somewhere, I would assume.
I would think so.
Oh, good. Our crack research staff is working on it, so I won't.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sean has been very good tonight.
Good breaking ball from Sean Marshall. Took just enough off that big sweeping break. First of all, gets the hitter out in front, and then the movement down and across the strike zone results in a swing and a miss.
Season high in strikeouts now, and he's 2 away from his career high of 8. He has walked Hermida twice. One and one the count. Some finals over in the American League from earlier today. Oakland beat Texas 4-2. Matt Holliday hit his first home run as an A on the final day of April. And Kansas City slowing down the Blue Jays 8-6 the final. Kyle Davies got the win for KC. Zach Greinke had his consecutive inning streak without allowing an earned run ended 43 last night. But he still got the win, and he's 5-0 with an ERA of a half a run. That's pretty good. High fly to center. Kosuke is camping underneath, and they go down 1-2-3. Sean Marshall shuts them down for the 6th straight inning. 2-0 Cubs. 7 hits combined, but the Cubs have the 2 big ones. Home runs by Bradley and Fontenot. Get the shin guard strapped on.
Got a bad strap there, just won't stay.
Now he's ready for an 0-1. Called strike 2.
Paulino going old school back there on the 0-2 pitch. That's the way catchers used to catch way back in the day. Almost stood completely upright behind the plate to make sure his pitcher got that fastball up. There he goes again. Look at this. Up here. That's where Volstad throws the pitch.
He chased one. He has a chance to get to first, and he will. And actually, the Cubs are helped by a bat. It's like a weighted bat, positioned perfectly as that ball caromed, but not quite back to Paulino. And because of that, Soriano reaches on a wild pitch.
All kinds of paraphernalia over there in the on-deck circle for both teams. That one gets away from Paulino. It's headed toward the bricks, but as you said, hits that weighted bat. The bounce is a little further away from Ronnie Paulino. That was a big breaking ball out in front of the plate. Take a base runner any way you can get him.
Leadoff strikeout and wild pitch. Throw to first. Fonzie with a short lead. Long pause by Volstad before throwing over again. We told the story last year when Volstad was in Little League in Florida back in the mid-90s. He got some help from Hall of Famer Jim Palmer, who knew Volstad's coach back then. That's part of the story, according to the Palm Beach Post, is that at first Volstad didn't know who Jim Palmer was. He was a little too young to remember. Terrio thought about a bunt and then took a strike. I guess Jim Palmer taught him his windup.
Jim Palmer was a guy not nearly as tall as Chris Volstad, but he took advantage of every bit of height he did have. 2 straight over the top. Was a fastball, curveball pitcher.
Oh, 0-2 to Terrio. Jim Palmer was 6'3". Well, when Volstad was in Little League, you know he wasn't 6'8".
He might have been 6'3" in Little League.
Off the outside corner, Paulino held it there for an extra second. Didn't get the call from Jim Wool. Their ace is Ricky Nolasco, a guy they got from the Cubs in the Juan Pierre deal a few years ago. He's off to a slow start. We'll see him on Sunday. He has a 6.92 ERA. Left-hander Graham Taylor is filling in for Andrew Miller, who's on the DL. He'll pitch tomorrow against Rich Harden. Anibal Sanchez and Ted Lilly go on Saturday. Graham Taylor sounds like a guy who was in the Hollies or session drummer for the Beatles or something before Ringo. His second career start tomorrow.
Volstad really paying a lot of attention to Soriano over there at first base. Fonzie 3 out of 5 on the season stealing bases. talked about Volstead being 6'8". It does take him a little longer to unwind. I guess for a guy 6'8", he does get rid of it fairly quickly, but the combination of the 6'8" pitcher and Ronnie Paulino's only caught 2 out of 13 attempted base stealers this year. Maybe Fonzie's thinking about nabbing one here.
There he goes. Swing and a miss. Strike 3, and Soriano's safe at second with his 4th steal. Cubs are 2 for 2 in that department tonight.
Pretty good jump by Alfonso Soriano. A quick peek back to home plate. He knows he's going to have to drive all the way through that head-first slide into second base as Terrio went down on strikes and gets himself into scoring position for Kosuke.
Kosuke with a runner in scoring position. 2-0 Cubs, last of the 6th. Swing and a miss. Matt Garza took a perfect game into the 7th against Boston tonight down in St. Petersburg. Jacoby Ellsbury with an infield single to break it up. Tampa Bay still leads 8-0. Soriano dancing off of second, trying to divert the attention of the pitcher, and that's exactly what happened.
What the threat of stealing a base can do. Volstead really once again paying a lot of attention to Alfonso Soriano now at second base. Amezaga jockeying in behind Fonzie, trying to keep him close, opening a hole on the left side of the infield. A little bit of speed on the bases changes everything.
The next one downstairs, 3-1. Angels and Yankees are tied 4-4 in the Bronx. Top of the 8th. Napoli is 4th. Damon his 4th in the home run department in that one. Light schedule around baseball tonight. Pulled right at the first baseman Cantu, and they're going to double off Soriano to end the inning. We'll head to the 7th. Cubs 2, Florida 0. Sean Marshall looks for his first win of the year. It would be his 17th career win. Curve for a strike to Cantu. Deep drive to left, and it's gone. A home run. Cantu with his 7th home run. Came in leading the majors in slugging at .741.
I mentioned earlier in the game he likes to pull the ball. I consider him to be a dead pull hitter, especially up until he gets 2 strikes. Got on that Sean Marshall pitch that was up, looked like to be a cutter. The only hope the Cubs had was that ball hooked foul down the third base line, but it stays well fair.
Ugla pops it up. Bradley catches it. Look at that list. Soriano and Cantu up there going back to September 1st. Pujols with a home run tonight in Washington.
Adrian Gonzalez atop that list. And when you think about where he plays his home games, it's not a home run hitter's ballpark.
Served into left for Paulino. Don't miss the action as the Cubs battle the Marlins this Sunday, May 3rd at 1:20. Be sure to get to the ballpark early to witness a very special pregame ceremony starting at 12:40. The Cubs will retire number 31 in honor of 2 of the greatest pitchers in the organization's history, Fergie Jenkins and Greg Maddux. In addition, the first 5,000 fans to enter the yard will receive a replica print of the paintings that will be presented to Fergie and Greg, courtesy of Best Buy. Don't miss your chance to be part of this historic day at Wrigley Field. And we'll be covering it all on WGN Sports, 12:30 Central Time. We'll have the entire on-field ceremony. 0-1 to Cody Ross, 1 ball, 1 strike. Aaron Heilman up in the Cubs bullpen. We're 2 outs away from our 7th inning stretch, which will be conducted by the Maine South High School football team, the 8A state champs. Went 14-0. Love their team motto, Bob. Over prepare.
I like that. Over prepare.
Thought you'd like that. Neil Kotz has joined the action.
Well, I have a feeling if needed, we're going to see a lot of Aaron Heilman in this series against the Florida Marlins. He has held the entire Florida roster to a total of 3 hits in his career against them.
He's faced them a lot.
Yeah, he's faced them a bunch as a member of the Mets. Wes Helms has 1 hit against him. Ronnie Paulino 1 hit against him, and Dan Ugla 1 hit against him. Everybody else on the roster over.
Two pitch in on their hands. More scores. Arizona got a leadoff home run from Felipe Lopez, and they're still clinging to a 1-0 lead at Milwaukee in the top of the 6th. Max Scherzer and Jeff Suppan dueling on the mound. Another 2-2, and it's driven foul. Deep breath by Marshall. comes. Didn't bite on the curveball. 3-2. We'll see if Paulino will be running to try to stay out of the double play. And the payoff pitch coming up. If you'd like to email us, it's WGNCubsTV@AOL.com. Paulino is not running. There's a bouncer to third. The throw goes to second. Relay throw. Save. Lee tried to sell it. Brian O'Nora had a good view of it. And Ross keeps the Marlins alive in this inning. Ball was not hit very hard, and they almost turned it.
There's that high chopper to third base. Fontenot waits back on that big second hop. Great job by Miles with his turn at the second, and it looked like Ross just did beat that out of first base. With the naked eye, I thought the Cubs had turned that one. Very close play.
Like the ball reached there just as Ross was crossing first.
You saw Hill walk in front of a Meziga right there and alert the infielders to be aware of the delayed steal. That's where the runner doesn't break right away when the pitcher delivers the ball home. He takes a couple of big hops off first base. The ball is actually in the catcher's glove before he breaks for second base.
Meziga was trying to push a bunt there. Saw the pitch was not going to be in the zone. Wes Helms is on deck for Volstad. And now Carlos Marmol is throwing in the Cubs pen. He had a rough one yesterday in Arizona. Trouble with his slider.
Well, you may ask, on a delayed steal, why would you do that? Why would you shuffle two big steps off first base before breaking for second? Usually you either try to catch the catcher dropping down to a knee after he receives the pitch, and obviously he's not in a position to throw then, or you watch the middle infielders. If they drop their heads or look away from the infield right after the pitch is delivered, sometimes you can delay, steal second base, and catch those middle infielders by surprise. It appears to me that Aaron Miles, after that pitch crosses the hitting area, the first thing he does is check the runner at first base.
Big spot for Marshall. Team leading by a run. And Meziga again thought about a bunt. Took that one for a strike. It's 1-2. $37,956. And they're making some noise. Cantu led off the inning with a home run to make it 2-1. And a foul pop out of play. Longest outing of the year for Marshall. 5 innings, 2 starts ago, 6 innings. Last time out, trying to get to 7 tonight. Kosuke coming on. Time to sing the stretch.
Yes, conductors for Take Me Out to the Ball Game are the Class 8A state football champions from Maine South High School.
All right, Cub fans, let me hear ya. A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the ground. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, for it's root, root, root for the Cubbies. If they sure how the old ball game. Let's get some runs!
The fifth inning, Cantu going deep in the seventh. Visit your Honda dealer. Test drive a 2009 Honda Accord. The Marlins starters 0-5 during this stretch without a win with a .567, but they've gotten a quality start from Volstad. This will be his final inning as Derek Lee flies out to Cameron Maben. The pitcher spot due up first in the eighth. Freddie Gonzalez hoping to get just one more inning here from his starter. Great to have Charlie Goro, Corby Ryan, Michael Cummins, Joey Orlando, Mike Cooney, and Zach Tim from Maine South, the high school football champs in 8A. Illinois Player of the Year, Charlie Goro. He ran it more than he passed it as a quarterback. Got to give a nice pop to Michael Cummins' brother Noah, who sang our national anthem tonight. Did a great job. Bradley homered his last time up. Took a healthy cut, fouled it back to the screen, 1-2.
Well, Len, we have your answer. You asked about consecutive games by a catcher.
Yeah.
312. By Frankie Hayes. Now, ironically enough, on this day in baseball history, Bob Feller, in what he considered to be his biggest thrill in baseball, struck out 11 and threw his second no-hitter against the Yankees 1-0. Frankie Hayes, his catcher, hit a solo home run to win the ball game.
You like when it all falls together like that.
I just love it.
Watch the reaction by Bradley on the called strike 3. Saying it was high?
Yeah, I think so. Umpires love that.
Be careful. He's already been suspended and is appealing a 2-gamer. I thought at first he was appealing, but he didn't swing. Yeah, he's saying it's high.
Well, the rule says you're not allowed to argue balls and strikes. It doesn't say anything about indicating with your hand that you thought it was a high pitch. It's lawyer ball right there.
Right. Tapper charged by Ugley. He's going to have to hurry, and they get the out. That'll be it for Volstad. Gave up 2 home runs. That was it. It's 2-1 Cubs. Tonight's Bud Light Fan Cam with just the right taste that never fills you up. The difference is drinkability. Looks like Brett Carroll was announced as the pinch hitter, so that's why Sean Marshall warmed up for the 8th, but Carlos Marmol's coming on when we come back. The next day. Not much margin for error here for Carlos Marmol. He was just trying to get some work yesterday and could not find the strike zone. And tonight he's trying to protect a 2-1 lead. Brett Carroll was announced, taken down now for Ross Glode, left-handed hitter, and he fouls it back 1-1.
Boy, a huge tip of the cap to Sean Marshall. What a big outing for him tonight, locking horns with the Florida Marlins right-hander Chris Volstad, who was on top of his game tonight too, but Sean was just a little better.
One to Glode. That gets by everybody. Sounds, Bob, like the Cubs are just chalking yesterday up to just a bad outing. I haven't heard that they've spotted anything mechanically wrong with Carlos after coming back from the left knee sprain. We're in Arizona, so his breaking ball was all over the place. Off the plate inside, 3-1. Hopefully no carryover to tonight. Guess if you're going to have a really bad one, you might as well do it in a blowout loss. Stakes are a lot higher tonight. Ball 4. That's a leadoff walk to Ross Glode. Nobody up right now. That may change. We saw Heilman earlier, so it wouldn't take him long.
The Cubs defensively expecting a sacrifice bunt here from Bonifacio. I think Fondo already drawn in about 10 or 12 feet in front of the bag at third and will charge as the pitch is delivered.
Strategically, Bob, in this spot, I mean, that's the percentage play, but considering Marmol struggles to throw strikes, you think you might change that and make him throw strikes? Oh, there you go. He's swinging away. Oh. Thought he might take one. That helps the Cubs.
Well, those are the kind of things a young team will do that makes you scratch your head. I mean, I was with you as far as taking until you get a strike. Force Marmol to show he can get that ball back into the strike zone, and then maybe go ahead and swing away. Because of Bonifacio's speed, there's very little chance you're going to double him up if he happens to hit a ground ball in the infield. But to come in from that on-deck circle and hack at the first pitch you see when Marmol has been all over the place to the first hitter, that's just a youthful mistake. But I like that play too, Len. I did that several times when I was with the Diamondbacks in a very obvious bunt situation. Let the batter pick a pitch and try to drive it past that third baseman on the first pitch. Try to catch the defense out of position. maybe take one shot to get a base hit on that first pitch and then put the bunt on.
Oh, they've got a shot. Coy Hill's going to throw to first. Little hesitation, though, by Coy. Ross Glode was dancing off of first.
Now, he was way out there in no man's land.
Right, he got that far off of first base.
I think only the fact that Bonifacio's a left-handed hitter and kind of screened Coy Hill. See, Coy can't really see him until he stands up, and by then it's too late. Glode's on his way back to first.
He's running this time, and it's slapped foul through the bullpen. The Marlins would not say, nor do they have to, whether or not Hanley Ramirez is available to pinch hit tonight. The guess here would be no. Aramis Ramirez is available, but he has a leg injury, not a hand injury.
Now, certainly we don't know the extent of Hanley Ramirez's injury, but you'd have to believe that the only thing he could be used for was possibly a pinch runner.
Runner not going, and it's inside on a slider that moved a lot to make it 3-2, and you'd have to think Glode would be running here. Although there are no outs, I don't want to run into a double play, and Marmol is a strikeout pitcher. So we'll see.
A lot of variables.
They tried to run earlier on a 2-1 pitch. He goes. We'll do it again. Make sure you join us on WGN Sports, 12:30 Central on Sunday. Greg Maddux and Fergie Jenkins will be in the house. Number 31 will be retired. One number, two legends. Dan Roan will be here as well. We'll have all the on-field ceremonies and then Game 4 of this series. Glow came over from Kansas City. A little trip there at first base. Almost came off the bag.
Lost his balance just a little bit, and sometimes if that first baseman has the tag on the runner as he switches feet, I've seen an out call on that before.
Marmol trying to make it a little tougher as he goes again way outside. He's walked the first two, and still nobody up in the bullpen.
Well, we know Aaron Heilman is probably ready to go and would only take a couple of pitches to be ready to come into this ball game if necessary. Well, Carlos Marmol just looks like he cannot find a consistent release point. He'll make a good pitch or two, and then he'll miss the zone by 4 feet.
I go back to what I said yesterday. The pattern, by and large, has been when he has struggled with his command. There's one particular pitch he gets it over, a 2-0 or a 3-1, and then it gets locked in. It didn't happen yesterday, and still waiting for that to happen tonight.
It's very similar to a hitter when he's in a slump, and it just seems like you can't find it at all. Your timing is bad, your rhythm's bad, you're swinging at bad pitches. And you have that one at bat, that one swing where you square it up and hit a line drive, and all of a sudden everything falls back into place. That's the way Marmol has been at times on the mound. He'll make that one good pitch, usually with the slider, and then he's right back in the zone.
Maben bunts, and Marmol's going to pick it up. The throw to first. It gets out of the glove of Miles, and they're going to tie it up. That had trouble written all over it. Maben runs really well. And the throw and the runner got to Aaron Miles at the same time. So not only is it a 2-2 game, there are still no outs.
I mean, Marmol got to the ball in good shape. Unfortunately, his throw to first base had to be rushed because of Maben's speed, and it tails right back into the runner. Boy, that's always a scary sight. I think back to that game in L.A. when Derek Lee got his hand over there in front of a runner. Ideally on defense, when you field that bunt anywhere on the left side of the infield, you'd love to keep that throw on the infield side of first base. Give your second baseman or first baseman an opportunity to stretch out there and avoid that runner, but that was not the case on that throw.
Sacrifice bunt and an error on Marmol. 2 strikes to Hermida. Heilman's up now. Marshall can't get the win now. Very tough no decision for him. Hermida went. Strike 3.
There's that good slider starting over the heart of the plate, dropping down and in out of the zone. Hermida can't hold up. First out of the inning. Now we need a ground ball. Bonifacio was jumping around out there at second base, much like Alfonso Soriano did earlier in the game. I think Ryan Theriot just wanted to come in and remind Carlos Marmol, don't forget about him back there. And really all you have to do as a pitcher is look back one time on the first pitch, look back 2 or 3 times on the second pitch, maybe on the third pitch, don't look back at all. Just don't fall into a pattern that Bonifacio can time out there at second base.
Fastball at 96, strike 1. Lou Piniella knows all about Cantu. He played for him in Tampa Bay. In 2005, 28 homers, 117 RBIs with the then Devil Rays. Terrio, Miles, and Lee with the dig. Double play. 6-4-3 for the third time. So they do tie it, but they can't grab the lead. 2-2 to the bottom of the 8th.
Solo home run by Jorge Cantu to lead off the 7th inning. Sean Marshall, our AM/PM player of the game. Too much good stuff.
They tied it up without a hit. They got an unearned run of Carlos Marmol to make it 2-2. Now left-hander Dan Meyer, who's making his 30th career appearance. This is his 3rd major league team. He still doesn't have a win. 0-6 lifetime with a high ERA, even though coming in at .289 this year with Florida. Been a Brave, an A, and now a Marlin. Faces Coy Hill, batting right-handed. So that's 13 consecutive games for Florida without a starting pitcher getting a win. Kick and the 1-0 pitch. It's a strike on a fastball registering at 91. Former Marlin closer Kevin Gregg now with the Cubs getting loose. Giovanni Soto just in case. Popped up right off the back of the Marlins dugout.
You look at the media notes to try to figure out a reason why the Florida starters have not won as many games as they should. They give up a lot of runs early. Opponents have scored 24 first-inning runs against the Florida Marlins. And on the other side of the coin, the Marlins have scored a lot late. Their biggest offensive inning is the 9th. They've scored 17 ninth-inning runs.
2-2 on Hill. Miles and then a pinch hitter for Marmol. The pitch, crushed foul. Cardinals now pulling away late, 9-4 in DC. And the top of the 9th. High pop fly. Ugla takes a look at Ross, who puts it away. It was a 4-4 tie going to the 9th. They've scored 5 runs. Ankiel had the go-ahead hit. Let's see what Lou does after Miles. Ramos should be able to give him an at-bat. You could then use Joey Gathright to run for him. Same for Giovanni Soto. Or you could use Carlos Zambrano. And the fans now noticing Big Z on deck. Let's see, he did not get an at-bat yesterday, right? He was on deck.
He was on deck, but yeah, didn't get the at-bat. And that could change. I mean, if Aaron Miles would happen to hit a double or a triple, you might see Aramis Ramirez come out of that dugout to take the at-bat instead. But of course, Freddie Gonzalez at that point would probably intentionally walk him to set up a potential double play and take the bat out of Ramirez's hand. So brains are spilling all over the field.
By the way, I read that it was Alan Trammell who wrote Zambrano's name on the extras list yesterday. We'll have to ask.
I bet you it was Zambrano.
Another pop-up. Captain out there is the center fielder, and it's Maben. Here comes Big Z.
Pinch hitting for the pitcher, normal. Number 38, Carlos Zambrano.
One of the best games ever at the plate, and that's saying a lot considering how good a hitter he is. Getting the win a couple of nights ago, single, RBI double, and a home run. And a base hit. Keeping the 8th alive.
Well, certainly now you would expect to see Joey Gathright pinch run. He hasn't started a game yet this year.
Freddie Gonzalez coming out with Soriano due up. He's not going to let the lefty face him. I think Z realizes this is my last chance to stay in this pinch hit mix. I better get a knock. Still hasn't been taken out for a pinch runner, but we would assume that's going to happen. Who knows? Maybe talked him into staying in there. We'll be back.
I mean, Joey Gathwright's, at this point, his only value to this team is as a pinch runner. I can't believe he's not in the game right here.
Calero's been busy. This is his 13th appearance in the Marlins' 22nd game.
Boy, he's been death on right-handed hitters before this evening. Righty's only 3 for 25. That's a 120 batting average.
Now Soriano's hit some big home runs in the first month. Batting in a 2-2 tie. And a slider off the outside corner. Calero was born in Puerto Rico. Went to college in Miami. And he's now pitching for a team that'll become the Miami Marlins when they move into the new ballpark in 2012. Throw to first and Z is back.
I'm pretty sure Z can score on a home run, though. That would work.
That's not a bad move by the Marlins. They might throw over there a few times with a pitcher at first base. Z is a pinch hitter with a 2-out single. That was his first at bat officially as a righty this year. The kick and the pitch. Ooh, that was a hanger. 1-1.
And a little bit of the Milton Bradley hand sign there that time from Soriano. He thought that breaking ball was up above the strike zone.
short lead by Carlos. Long pause by Calero. Soriano asked for and was granted time.
Yeah, you really have to protect your base runner as a hitter, especially when you've got a pitcher running at first base. That pitcher's out there just holding the ball, holding the ball, holding the ball. Your job as the batter is to protect the runner and call timeout.
He's seen 3 sliders. It's 1-2. Have to think he'll see another one.
Well, a lot of teams, when they face Soriano in a similar situation, they'll show a fastball up high out of the strike zone. Try to get him to maybe chase a fastball up. And if he takes it for a strike, they go right back to that slider down low and away.
Cubs grabbed a 2-0 lead, back-to-back homers in the 5th. The Marlins got a Cantu homer in the 7th and an unearned run to tie it in the top of this 8th. The wind is blowing straight out to center, not very hard. And Paulino will go out and chat with Calero.
We have a philosophical difference here. Calero shook off slider away, then he shook off fastball away, and Paulino banged on his right leg saying, no, we've got to stay away, we've got to stay away. Calero apparently wanted to try to come in with a fastball on that 1-2 pitch, and Paulino would not let him do it, so they did what you should do. Call timeout, go out there and talk about it, try to figure out what he's thinking out there on the mound. If he can make a case to you to throw a fastball in, then he's a good lawyer candidate. Slider.
Here it is. He thought about it. Able to hold up 2-2. Oh, it's like the sweet tooth I have. You know, you see those cookies, you want to jump right in. Soriano hasn't found too many sliders that he doesn't like. He's been better about not swinging at those pitches lately, and he's off to a fantastic start.
He's going to get another one right here. That time far enough out of the zone, he saw it immediately.
I think he's seen a fastball, has he? Miss it back. Nothing but sliders. Big moment here. Zambrano will be running with the 3-2 with 2 outs. There he goes. The pitch on the way. Popped up. Cody Ross. And we'll head to the 9th. It'll be Kevin Gregg against his former team in a 2-2 tie. He's trying to regain the form he showed in 07 and 08. His ERA was in the mid-3s. It's above 6 early on with the Cubs. He had a struggle yesterday in that blowout loss. 1 ball, no strikes on Dan Uggla. We did a little investigative work to find out if, in fact, Kevin Gregg was ejected yesterday by Jeff Kellogg, the home plate umpire. Kevin didn't know. I guess Jeff Kellogg just said get out of here, but I don't think that was an ejection because Kevin was already coming out of the game. 3 balls, no strikes on Uggla. He walked 3 and only got 2 outs through 35 pitches.
Well, we even talked about it at the time. I felt that it was kind of a classy move on Jeff Kellogg's part for not ejecting him.
It's going to drop foul as Uggla went after a 3-0 pitch.
I think sometimes if an umpire really understands the psychology of this game and you've had a pitcher that just had a real rough outing and maybe a couple of borderline pitches didn't go his way, you let him speak his piece on the way off the field. No reason to throw him out of the game.
Got him to pop up. Oh, that's big. Dan Uggla is not going to be happy with himself with that at bat. He hit the 3-0 pitch hard but foul and then had an infield pop on a 3-1. If Freddie had a lot of hair, it would be a little grayer, right?
Oh, yeah. Every one of those 3-1 fastballs that gets popped up, every leadoff walk by a pitcher or 2-out walk by a pitcher, every runner left in scoring position, they just sprout up all over the place.
Big rip by Paulino, who has slugged under 400 in his career, but we've seen him hit some long home runs as a member of the Pirates. He has 2 hits tonight. He hit into a 6-4-3 double play in the 4th inning. He takes a big hack. Deep breath by Gregg. The 0-2 pitch. Another foul. So final, the Cardinals have won again. 9-4 over the Washington Nationals. They won it with a 5-run ninth. Chris Perez got the win. He beat former Cub Julian Tavarez. And Kip Wells taking over the closer spot with the Nationals. Another pop-up. And a collision, and he's out. Yep. Got to give the defender a chance to catch the ball. And Paulino ran right into Derek Lee. Kind of saw that one coming.
Yeah. Paulino had ample opportunity to go left or right and get around Derek, but he is right in the baseline, and as a defender you have the right to field the ball. Paulino has to go around Derek Lee on this play.
And quite honestly, it's not really a controversial play because that's about as easy a catch as you'll see. Just glad Derek didn't get hurt, especially with that neck. I don't think he was expecting to be run into by the batter. Keep score at home. I believe Derek gets the put out. The play you see very often. 1-1 on Cody Ross. We're tied in Milwaukee. Diamondbacks and Brewers 1 apiece in the last of the 7th.
Pretty sure the Diamondbacks scored first in that game, a leadoff home run by Felipe Lopez, and haven't done much offensively since.
Ricky Weeks tied it with an RBI single, plating Jason Kendall. In on the hands, foul back. Dodgers lead the Padres early, top of the second in Los Angeles, 1-0. Gear and McDonald, the pitchers in that one. Fans want a strikeout. 3-2 pitch. He gets the strikeout on a heater. Chance to win it now for the Cubs. Terrio, Fukudome, and Lee coming up. Their closer. And I recorded a new podcast Sunday. It's up for viewing and downloading and enjoying on WGNTV.com. Just go to WGNTV.com, click on the sports header, look for the link, click, download, and enjoy. Kevin Gregg with a 1-2-3, top of the ninth against his former team.
He struggled to get his slider over the plate early, but found that fastball up in the zone. Got a couple of pop-ups and a strikeout. Good clean inning for Kevin Gregg.
Calero got Soriano to end the eighth on a fly to right, and he now faces Ryan Terrio. And that'll be a base hit for Terrio. Winning run is on. He's 2 out of 4 tonight.
Smoked that ball into center field. We had to hold up momentarily because of the speed of Cameron Maben out there in center field, but he backed off, played it on a hop. Cubs have the leadoff man on.
What do you do here with Kosuke? Probably the Cubs' hottest batter.
Now we know Lou does not like to bunt. We've seen Kosuke do it on his own on several occasions. I like him trying to hit that hole on the right side myself. Play a little first and third if possible.
Just hate taking the bat out of his hands, even though he's 0 for 3 tonight.
Boy, especially now, Calero's gone ball one. The conventional wisdom in an obvious bunt situation is to throw high fastballs. Try to get the bunter to pop the ball up into the air. Kosuke showing bunt on that first pitch. Took it for a ball. Well, if you choose to do so, now you turn him loose, get that bat head out in front of that fastball, and try to hook it through that right side.
Showing bunt. And it's hit foul.
Well, we mentioned very early on Bonifacio, although he's playing third and playing very well at third base, he's a middle infielder by trade. Came up through the minor league system of the Arizona Diamondbacks as a second baseman. And he really charged hard on that bunt attempt by Kosuke. Ryan Terrio could possibly go first to third if Kosuke could bunt that ball down the third baseline and force Bonifacio to come in and make the play. It's up to Ronnie Paulino, the catcher, to trade places with Bonifacio and cover third base.
Have only 5 hits tonight. 2 have been home runs. One and 2. Lee on deck. Cubs trying to walk off with a win.
Ryan Terrio asking Mike Quade to go through the signs one more time.
He runs, and it's foul because it bounced up and hit Kosuke.
Yeah, too close to take in a 1-2 count. Kosuke's got to take care of himself up there at the plate. If Kosuke were ahead in the count 2-1 and Ryan Terrio got that kind of a jump, you probably go ahead and take that pitch, let him steal second base, but that's too close for Kosuke to take on a 2-strike count.
Trying to get some dirt or mud out of his spikes for the next 1-2 delivery. He has a sign from Paulino. He's ready to throw if needed, and they pitch out as Terrio is not running. What'd you say? The brains are spilling all over the field. Yeah.
Joe Garagiola Sr., that's a line he used to use when you get down to this point of a tie ball game late. Lots of strategy. Steal is on, then the steal's off. They pitch out.
Terrio faking and a swing and a miss. Those are tough at bats, aren't they, Bob? When you're there to bunt, you get one chance, you bunt it foul. Your runner's trying to get to second base. All of a sudden, you find yourself in a 2-strike count. That was a pretty good heater with some late movement.
Yeah, there's just really no rhythm to the at bat. A lot of throws to first base. We saw a pitch out. It just you never really feel like you're in sync in the batter's box.
Derek Lee against his former team. Terrio still at first. Trying to get to second. The throw is not in time. Bounced away from Ugla.
Fifth stolen base for the Riot, his second in the ball game tonight. A good jump. Paulino's throw, just a tough short hop for Ugla to handle down there at second base. Tried to pick and tag all in one motion. A good, hard, aggressive slide, too. Get that front leg out there, and as soon as you make contact with the bag, pop up, find the ball, and be ready to go to third base.
Single could win it. A 1-0 count on Lee. Ugla cheating over near second base, try to keep Terrio honest. The kick and the pitch to Lee. Caught the outside edge. 1-1. A slider off the plate. 2 balls and a strike. Calero continues to struggle with his spikes. The kick and the 2-1 pitch. 2-2.
Good aggressive swing that time by Derek Lee. No signs of those neck spasms. Looking for that pitch. Got it. Just fouled it straight back. Well, that's a breaking ball. Middle of the plate. Big swing by Derek Lee.
Now the 2-2 swing and a miss. He struck him out. Calero has missed some bats in a big spot. We got Fukudome and now Lee.
And he changes speed well on that slider too. When he needs to throw one for a strike, he takes a little off, starts it right at the hitter, breaks it over the middle of the plate. When he needs a strikeout, he throws it harder on the outside part of the plate, sweeping out of the zone.
Former teammates now. They were in Oakland together, Calero and Bradley. And Milton's not going to get a chance. Now Fontenot's on deck. Raniel Pinto is ready and may be called on by Freddie Gonzalez. Here's ball 4. And here comes the Marlins manager, and the question is, will Fontenot get the at-bat? Because Zambrano was used earlier. Soto, Johnson, Ramirez, all these guys are available. Reed Johnson is coming out for Fontenot. So Pinto coming in to face Reed Johnson. 2 on, 2 down, a 2-2 tie in the ninth. Sports is Bob Borwald. Special thanks to our technical director Joe Vinci, our duet operator Mark Stenzel, stage manager in the booth Deb Merrill, Christina Ballas is our studio coordinator, and of course our entire Cubsnet crew here at Wrigley Field. Look at the walk totals for Pinto as he faces Reed Johnson. So Lou wants to win it right here. If the Cubs cannot, we'll have to figure out the defensive alignment in the 10th. Either Coy Hill at third or Soriano might have to come in and play second. It's not the first time that would have happened, but it may not have to happen.
Let's hope not, because it will be musical defense if this game stays tied.
Pinto signed with the Cubs originally in 1999. And a first pitch strike. He was sent to Florida in December of 05 in a Juan Pierre trade. Sergio Mitre and Ricky Nolasco also involved in that deal. Winning run is right there. Ryan Theriot. The 0-1 pitch hit foul. Now Reed Johnson here on the final day of April is still looking for his first RBI. We hope everybody's all right after that screamer went flying into the stands. So he has one last chance here for an RBI before the calendar turns.
Well, save the best for the last. Get your first one on the last day of the month. Why not?
Yeah, Lou joked about it. 1 day left here, Reed. Don't want to go for April. Gonna have to battle here down 0-2 to Pinto. Long pause by the lefty. Big leg kick. 1-2.
Well, it would be tempting to try to steal third base against Pinto because of that big leg kick, but there's really very little upside in it for Ryan Theriot. He's already in scoring position. Marlins middle infielders are not trying to hold him close. He can get a huge lead and secondary lead. He should be able to score on just about anything hit to the outfield.
Catcher sliding toward the inside part of the plate. Ground ball, diving stop, and the flip. They get the out. What a play by Amezaga to possibly save the ball game for now. We're going to go into extras. It's 2-2 as they are able to get Bradley at second base. What a play by Amezaga. In college, and And Soto comes in to catch. Aramis Ramirez on the active roster, but not able to play defense. And Aaron Heilman's now pitching. So this is the first time Coy Hill has played any position in the majors other than catcher in one game, one inning in right. That was with the Cubs in 07.
He converted from a third baseman to a catcher back in the 2000 season. He takes ground balls. I've seen him take his glove down to third base. I've seen him take throws over at first base during batting practice just to kind of help out the infielders a little bit.
Meziga lofts one, and Kosuke got a late break, and it cost him. Ball gets by him, and Meziga is going to be at second base standing. That ball fooled Fukudome out in center right off the bat, and he couldn't get there in time. So leadoff double here in the 10th.
That ball was cued right off the end of the bat. Kosuke was fooled by the swing, as you mentioned, momentarily broke back, and then when he tried to make up the ground, he just misses the shoestring attempt. Meziga running hard the whole way, ended up at second base. From our Southwest Sky Cam, you'll see how close Kosuke came with that late diving effort. Just couldn't quite get there. Now is when you get a little concerned with a guy playing out of position. Once again, one of those obvious bunt situations. And in this particular situation, as a batter, you want to bunt the ball to third base. Although with Wes Helms, I don't think he's going to bunt. He's going to be up there to hack away.
Not showing bunt at all. 1 ball, no strikes. So Heilman goes into Johnson's spot after Reed made the final out on a fielder's choice. Meziga looming large here late with a diving stop. They get the force play at second, and now a leadoff double. 1-1, and he's filling in for Hanley Ramirez, one of the most exciting players in the game today. Burke Badenhop and Leo Nunez. Almost hit him.
I mean, Helms has put down sacrifice bunts, 10 in his career. He had a high of 6 back in 06 for the Florida Marlins, but Freddie Gonzalez wants him to take his rips and try to drive that run in.
A 2-2 tie in the 10th. Cubs are 1-1 in extras. 1-0 at home, 0-1 on the road. Florida's 2-1. Both wins coming away from Miami. Bonifacio on deck. Be up past his bedtime. Watching a thriller tonight here at Wrigley. Heilman's 2-2. Fouled back.
The bench is starting to get thin. We mentioned Hanley Ramirez for the Marlins. Probably not available other than to pinch run tonight. Other than that, Freddie Gonzalez only has his backup catcher Baker available off the bench. And for Lou Piniella, Aramis Ramirez, who we were told could be used in a pinch hit situation. Joey Gathright, Micah Hoffpower, and since the Marlins have used both of their left-handed relievers in this game, Micah Hoffpower could be the guy that looms large in this game at some point. Any pitchers you see out of that Marlins bullpen from this point forward are going to be right-handers.
another 2-2. That bounced up there, and Ameziga thought about it. Soto pounced on it quickly, and it's full 3-2.
Nice block by Giovanni Soto. Not only does he block that ball over in the left-handed batter's box, gets to it quickly. Ameziga had thoughts about breaking for third base as soon as he saw that ball go in the dirt, but because Soto got to it so quickly, he had to slam on the brakes and go back to second. Of room for Ameziga out there at second base. Now Terrio's going to slide in behind him a little bit.
3-2 way outside and low. Ball 4. Two on, no outs. Larry Rothschild heading out to the mound. I'm guessing for you, these are the games in a way that you probably miss in terms of managing. Battle of wits, but it also give you a headache, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It gets to be a battle of attrition at some point. The longer the game goes on, you run out of bodies to use. You really can't think too much about matchups. I like this hitter on that relief pitcher. We've got guys playing out of position here already, and it's not out of the question that we'll have more guys playing out of position if this game goes much longer.
Maybe Lou's getting ready to hit.
Well, you would certainly expect a bunt now from Bonifacio with nobody out, 2 runners on base.
The Marlins are, I'm sure, thinking we got to make Coy Hill make a play.
Well, and that's the right direction to bunt the ball in this situation. I mean, it's actually tougher to play what you call the standard bunt defense with runners at first and second for a guy who's out of position at third base than it is to play the wheel play. On the wheel play, there's no doubt you're charging. On a standard bunt play with runners at first and second, the third baseman comes in and reads the bunt. And he has to determine very quickly if his pitcher can get over there and make the play. Can the catcher get out and make the play, or do I, as the third baseman, have to come in there and get the ball and get the out at first base? It's a lot of stuff to think about for a guy that doesn't play over there very often. On a wheel play, there's no doubt. You're charging in hard, try to field the bunt, hopefully get the lead runner at third base. If not, still get the out at first.
1-2. Freddie Gonzalez and his bench coach, former Blue Jay manager Carlos Tosca. Blues bench coach is Alan Trammell. A 1-2, and he's swinging away. The bunt is off with a 2-strike count. Ameziga is a go-ahead run. He's at second. Wes Helms walked after the double. Ground ball right side, backhanded by Lee, and the throw gets out of the glove of Terrio, and the Marlins will get their first lead. The throw to third, safe. That was the right throw because Derek's momentum was going to second base. We'll get another look at it. It hit the glove of Terrio, but he was unable to hang on. 3-2 Florida.
A slow ground ball to the right side, and you called it, Len, leads Derek Lee right into the play at second base. That looked like Terrio just missed it. I mean, it wasn't right on his numbers, but that was a ball that Ryan looked like he should catch out there at second base. Had the right foot planted on the bag, stretching out there to get the force play at second base, and just couldn't come up with it.
So it'll be a fielder's choice and an error on somebody. And the squeeze play is on, and they're not only going to get the run, but Maben is safe at first. Suicide squeeze getting Helms in. And that's the play you talk about all the time, Bob. You have a confusing play before that as Florida took the lead. And in the midst of that, the brief aftermath, they laid down a suicide squeeze.
Yeah, you try to take advantage of confusion whenever you can, and Freddie Gonzalez pushed the right button that time. Boy, Maben really hid that well. He squared around very, very late. And with his speed, once Aaron Heilman was slow to get off the mound, he's going to leg it out for a base hit.
Swing and the miss. Still no outs. 4-2. The error has been charged to Terrio. That's 3 errors on the Cubs tonight. Remember the error on Marmol back in the 8th. That helped the Marlins tie it up.
We showed you that graphic very early on in the ball game. Cubs 0-7 this season when they commit at least 1 error in the ball game. You'd like to think that at some point in the very near future their offense will start hitting the ball the way they're expected to, and they can overcome an occasional defensive mistake. But with the offense sputtering the way it has been and the bullpen walking guys the way they have been, boy, every defensive miscue is costly.
Three and one. Crowd here reacting to the news that the Bulls just won in triple overtime over the Celtics. So game 7 back in Boston. That'll be Saturday. 3-1 pitch, swing and a miss. 3-2.
Looks like a lot of people heard about the triple overtime game and went out in the concourse to perhaps watch it on TV. A flood of people came back into the ballpark after we heard that cheer.
Foul back our way. Alfredo Amezaga has been the hero for the Marlins. Diving play on defense. In the bottom of the 9th with 2 on and 2 down. And then a leadoff double and the go-ahead run here in the 10th. They're loaded up. Larry on the phone as Cantu bats with the bases full of Marlins and no outs.
Well, I mentioned earlier that we'd probably see Heilman a lot in this 3-game series against the Marlins because of his past success as a member of the Mets. Jorge Cantu 0 for 7 with 3 strikeouts against Aaron Heilman.
The infield pulled in, the outfielders are back, and he pops it up. It's down along the right field line, and it lands about 3 or 4 inches foul.
Long run for Milton Bradley. He was playing extremely deep for Jorge Cantu. He's really the only guy that had a shot at that ball. It just does land into foul territory. With Aaron Miles playing in, as you mentioned, on the infield, he had a long way to go as well.
He was able to hold, according to Brian O'Nora, 1-1 on Cantu.
The more off-speed stuff you can throw Cantu, the better. He can pull a bullet. He loves that fastball. Got in on him that time with a good heater.
Brewers have broken it open in Milwaukee with a 4-run 7th. And it's now over. They beat the Diamondbacks 4-1. The Brewers have won 4 straight. Florida trying to make it 3 in a row after a 7-game losing streak. Cubs trying to avoid dropping beneath 500 for the first time. Another full count, 3-2 with the bases loaded. Guzman up in the pen. And the pitch drilled to deep left, right at the base of the wall. Florida's going to get at least 2. They're trying to get a third. Relay throw to the plate. Not in time. Jorge Cantu just cleared him. 4 RBIs tonight. 10 RBIs his last 3 games now. And they've busted it wide open.
Heilman had done a nice job throughout that at bat of keeping the fastball out of the middle of the plate, but that one is belt high inside parked right where Cantu likes it. Screaming line drive into the gap in left center.
So Larry Rothschild making the pitching change. 7-2 Florida. Angel Guzman coming in. Still no outs in the 10th. gotten a save the last 2 nights. So it's Guzman against Ugla with Cantu at second, pulled down the left field line, and a fair ball. Make it a 6-run 10th. Ugla with his 17th RBI of the season, 8-2.
Make it stop. Hanging breaking ball from Angel Guzman. Belt high inside part of the plate. Big league hitters don't miss that one. Ugla keeps it fair down that left field line. Still nobody out.
And Aaron Heilman did not record an out. At this point, he's been charged with 6 runs. And I would assume all will be earned because no outs have been recorded. Ouch. Came in with an ERA under 1. And that'll be caught by Fukudome for the first out. Sarcastic cheer from the fans. 8 batters to get 1 out. One of those runs actually may be unearned because Cubs should have had an out at second on the error that was charged to Terrio. Here's Cody Ross. Fouled back. Ball almost hit Ross. So Giovanni Soto tried to help him out. We were talking during the break about Aaron Heilman. You threw out all the numbers. I mean, just it dominated this Marlins lineup. In fact, going into this inning, the biggest concern was a catcher playing slightly out of position. Coy Hill, again, had played third in the past, but never at this level. Well, he hasn't really been a factor at all. And Florida has scored 6 runs.
I mean, Meziga 0 for 8 lifetime against Heilman. Cantu 0 for 7. Hermida 0 for 8. Paulino 1 for 5. Ramirez 0 for 12, even though he's not in the lineup tonight. Cody Ross 0 for 10. Dan Ugla was 1 for 13. That's one of those moves you make as a manager based on past histories. You like the matchups. You like this guy on this particular hitter. The numbers say statistically that he's had the edge over the years, but on a given night, you can throw the numbers out the door. The good news is Coy Hill's playing stellar defense down there at third so far.
Pressed into duty because Lou wanted a pinch hitter for Fontenot. Used Reed Johnson, who hit a ball hard up the middle, but Meziga stopped it, got the out, got this game into the 10th. Swing and the miss, strike 3. So it's a Meziga for the second time this inning. Leadoff double and the go-ahead run as the floodgates open. And again, we would not have been here had he not made a terrific play to end the ninth.
That's a great point, Len. You know, a lot of Cub fans will probably bemoan the lack of offense in the game tonight, and certainly that was the case. Talk about walks late in the ball game, and certainly that didn't help any. But just a great defensive play by the opposing team. Otherwise, we're all on our way home by now.
One swing and the miss.
Here's that play we were talking about.
Now Bradley's running from first, coming back from the groin injury. Got to think Terrio's going to score the winning run if he doesn't knock it down. And going back to last year, one of the big knocks on this Marlins team was their defense. It's been an issue the last few years. This is not the same team that threw out guys like Lee and Castillo, Gonzalez and Lowell, Pudge Rodriguez in 03. And they were fantastic defensively 6-7 years ago.
Right about in the middle of the pack this year as far as errors made this season and fielding percentage.
Well, we can ask tomorrow, but I don't know if Hanley Ramirez makes that play. He gained about 25 pounds in muscle in the offseason. You'd have to think that that maybe limited his range a little bit as he went from the leadoff spot to the 3-hole in their lineup. 1-2 from Guzman. Good battle. And on the other side, the Cubs defense, it's been a struggle tonight. They've committed 3 more errors. Couple charged to Ryan Theriot. And one on Carlos Marmol. Another foul.
And the walks by the relievers once again coming back to bite the Cubs. Carlos Marmol walked 2 in the 8th inning. One of those men came around to score. A couple of walks in this inning by Aaron Heilman. They both came around to score.
Uggla at second after an RBI double. And another 1-2, and it's picked, but he didn't catch it, so Miles has to throw to first to get the final out. So Meziga started it and finished it. It's 8-2 to the last of the 10th. To Aaron Heilman. So Coy Hill, who started the game behind the plate, now the third baseman, will face Leo Nunez. Pinto and Heilman are the pitchers of record. 1 ball, no strikes. They got Nunez from Kansas City in late October for first baseman Mike Jacobs. Made his major league debut with Kansas City in 2005. That rally cap's been on since the bottom of the 9th. As the Cubs had a chance to win it, they had the leadoff man on base. Inside corner strike.
Nunez has drawn comparisons to former Cub Juan Cruz because of his physical stature out there on the mound, long and lean. Generates a lot of arm speed, a lot of action on his fastball. He's used mainly as the 8th inning setup guy, as you mentioned. Lindstrom, the closer, has pitched in back-to-back days, so Nunez getting the opportunity in a 6-run game here to finish this one up.
Works from the windup, and Hill grounds to first. And a ball at Cantu right to the bag. This will be 7 out of 9 in the loss department for the Cubs. And in the 7 losses, if they don't score here in the bottom of the 10th, it would be 10 runs. It has been feast or famine for this offense.
The hits in this ball game, the Marlins have doubled up on the Cubs. 10 hits for the out-of-towners, 5 for the Cubs. A lot of different things you can point to in a ball game like this, but for Lou, it all gets back to the lack of offense. This is a team that was supposed to be able to out-hit their mistakes defensively, out-hit the occasional bad pitching performance, and the offense is just having trouble getting on track.
Line shot to right. Cody Ross on the move. 2 outs. Budweiser played the game. Again, we're going to go with the defense to get this game into extras as Reed Johnson grounding one back up the middle. Diving stop by Abeziga, and then the nifty flip to Dan Ugla. Reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager. Giovanni Soto with his first at bat tonight. And he bats with 2 outs. In the bottom of the 10th, his team down 6. The Cubs haven't been able to win, a 2-1, 1-0, a 3-1, that type of ball game. Well, I have good news.
Bring it on.
Rich Harden is pitching tomorrow.
There you go.
I mean, he's been lights out.
How's he hit?
Well, they're going to ask him to be the stopper. Sean Marshall was really good tonight. 1 run in 7 innings. Fly ball to deep left. And it's caught by Hermida right up against the vines, and that ends it.